going to use Dragonfly and Afternoon Siesta to create a beautiful ombre. Ombre. So lots of questions about ombre lately, so I'm going to show you how to make it really, really easy. I'm going to use my my smile tile, do a little bit of blending on there, and show you how it's going to all come together. You don't want two colors that are going to end up being brown in the middle. So like if you have a red and a green and you're trying to ombre those, you will get brown. So stick to colors that are close together on the color wheel. If you're looking at colors that are opposite sides of the color wheel, you're going to get brown. And that, well, unless you're aiming for brown, but for the most part, I would want to have a nice, like, kind of pretty color in the middle. So Dragonfly, Afternoon Siesta, and here we go. Then gonna wipe any extra off on my smile tile. And with a slightly firmer pressure, I'm going to pull down. So if I have any ridging there, it will self-level, so I can just leave it be and it'll melt into itself, which is kind of the joy of fusion. Or I can play with it a little bit and bring it down if I'm being impatient. So I'm going to cure that. I'm not going to work on the other side yet until I have this cured. So if I was working on a client, I'd grab the other hand and I'd do the exact same thing. Always working on a hand. Just a quick cure for that. So now I'm going to take my Dragonfly. I'm going to do the exact same thing, opposite side. Wiping any extra off of my brush onto my tile. I'm not going to wreck my brush by putting it on a wet wipe with cleanser, because that, as we know, does not fare well with our brushes. So firm pressure. I want to make sure my color application's even. And this is the part that gets everybody. They're like, okay, well now, what do we do in the middle? Oh, no, I'm not even going to stress about it, because it's going to be fine. I just want that to be smooth, and there's a very clear line where one stops and one starts right now, and we don't want that at all. We want that to be kind of indiscernible. You don't want to be able to tell where one stops and one starts, but no worries, we're going to fix that. Cure it first. Then again, I'm going to move on to the other hand. One of the tricks to being efficient is you always want to be doing something. You're never sitting and waiting. So if you're got one hand in the lamp, be doing something with the other. Always, always. A 50-50 mix, half of my Afternoon Siesta and then half Dragonfly, and I've blended them together nicely on a tile, and it makes the most beautiful purple. I think this needs to be a thing, Cheryl. We need to make this a color. And this is where the hack comes into place. So instead of fussing on my client's nail and worrying about going over and over around the cuticle area and messing everything up, I'm not going to do that at all. I'm just going to take my mix right in the middle. I'm going to blend it down. Wipe any extra off. I'm going to go towards the middle. Not sure if you guys can see that or not, but I've made a pretty even ombre there. So if you want a little bit more color, do the exact same thing over again. Very light pressure this time. I'm not taking a lot off. Put a decent amount of surface tension, but if I leave that even just for a second, I'm gonna let it melt into itself. this room is lighting, but see how perfect that is? And very, very effortless. I didn't have to fight with it a whole bunch, and I can't quite tell where one stops and where one starts, and that's exactly what I want with an ombre. Beautiful. But just all by mixing it on my tile, and that's the joy of the color builders. They give you a lot more time to play with, and they're not running. Cure that. And then I'm going to go on with my design. Making my ombre again, the exact same thing. I've got my purple on, my turquoise on, blending down the middle with my 50-50 mix. This color looks really good blended together. Not all colors look good blended together. Sometimes you just get kind of a mucky color. So it's just knowing your colors, knowing what works well together. Some gels have higher pigment ratio than others, so some are very overpowering. So you don't always need a 50-50. Sometimes you want to go a little bit more, a little bit less, whichever. This is what works for me though with this particular combo. So I think it looks great. I'm going to do some hand-painted art, but I'm going to pretend that my nail is finished filed and I've got my encapsulation done. And so if I were to do this on a finished filed nail, what I would have to do first is add a layer of top coat. For this particular design, I prefer to use a layer of tack-free top coat, but I'm going to pretend that I have that done. So I'm going to just go ahead and do my art right on top of the color builder. And I have wiped the dispersion layer off because of course with a tack-free top coat you wouldn't have a dispersion layer. I want a nice smooth, clean, tidy surface for my artwork. So now I'm going to take